Hello and welcome to Chicago Reacts. My name is Colin, and today I'm watching NCl3, a terrifying yellow abomination from the YouTube channel Explosions&Fire. And I'm not really sure if I said that correctly. The NC, it doesn't quite look like a 1, so I'm not really sure how you say it. So I'm sure we'll find out how to pronounce it correctly in the video. And yeah, I don't know if I've seen any videos from Explosions&Fire before. I've certainly seen plenty of videos and clips on YouTube and just the whole internet of people blowing stuff up, blending stuff, whatever. So I don't know, maybe I've seen like a clip or two from this guy. It's possible. But I don't think I've seen this one. Although NC13, I don't know, is this like that is it like, I think it's called elephant foam or something, the thing I think you light on fire and it basically like expands super quickly into this like paste looking thing. It makes a huge mess, but it's fun to watch. Is that what this is? Maybe, I don't know. I'm curious to find out. So with that being said, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll bring up the share screen. Oh, let me put this in full screen first so we don't look at hey, look at that. Okay. Let's get into it, shall we? We're gonna learn some like actual science stuff too.
Explosions&Fire. You might not have been expecting this one, but I said there was a.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this one. I don't recognize. I don't recall seeing any blowing stuff up on the internet videos hosted by an Australian guy. So
another episode of season 1 coming out. It says I need to T-pose on the top of the page, so I'm just going to do this first. Pretty sure I need this for later. Asking what is.
Also, so sorry if this guy's from New Zealand. I'm sometimes I like to think sometimes I can tell the difference between the accent, but this one I'm not so confident on that one. So sorry.
The worst chemical is really a tough question, but I'm not afraid to ask it. What is the worst chemical? It's nitrogen trichloride. Nitrogen trichloride is the worst chemical.
Why?
A lot of people have heard of nitrogen triiodide, otherwise known as touch powder, which is this lovely purple explosive. But a lot of people haven't heard of nitrogen trichloride. If we go to which Wikipedia page...
I haven't heard of any of these chemicals.
Apart from being this god-awful shade of yellow, its other sins include forming from pee and swimming pools and irritating people's eyes. That's... We'll get back to that one. In the early...
Wait, is that basically what happens when you mix chlorine and urine? Because I did hear that it's not the chlorine that irritates your eyes. It's the pee. Yeah. I try not to think about it.
Nearly assassinated Michael Faraday, who would go on to become one of the most important scientists in history due to his discovery of benzene. Benzene, it's back! It's also one of the most sensitive and unpredictable explosives out there. We're definitely going to make some, but we're going to ease ourselves into it a little bit by making some nitrogen triiodide first, who's kind of the nice guy of the two. Just a quick editing note here, even though nitrogen triiodide is considered a bit of a entry-level or accessible explosive, doesn't mean it's safe, and you should be wearing at all times at least safety glasses and hearing protection. So my dad got me these.
So, nitrogen triiodide, is that the NC13 thing that I'm talking about? NCi3? Nitrogen triiodide.
Headphones for Christmas, which I'm going to be using for hearing protection, but they've got this mic in them, which is great and all, but I love the implication that this dude is just like on a conference call. Cool, yeah. Back to you. Mate, you can't call it an editing note if it's in the script, alright? Just fucking let me explain it, alright? To make nitrogen triiodide, we just need to combine elemental iodine with an ammonia solution. We first need to make elemental iodine. So we're just dissolving up some sodium iodide and adding in the same amount of concentrated hydrochloric acid. And we're going to add these two combined solutions into an excess of weak hydrogen peroxide, which will oxidize the iodide salt into iodine. Now that we have the elemental iodine, the hardest part is not accidentally making any illicit drugs with it. I don't make illicit drugs, even if Hamilton from Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia is now subscribed to this channel, which All right, fuck it. Let's collab. DM me, Hamilton. Fucking, it's time.
Hell yeah, it's time.
It's DMT time. Nice.
That's art. That has to work. All we need to do now is add the iodine to the ammonia, and we're just letting this sit in a shitty plastic cup. I don't know who needs to tell you this, but you're allowed to use shitty plastic cups when making explosives. Doesn't all have to be in glass beakers, because you're trying to limit the amount of shrapnel you have. Do it in soft plastic. I'm giving you permission. Use the shitty plastic cups. They're like beakers, but you don't have to clean them. They just go straight into the ocean.
Sounds like practical advice.
Oh no. Now we can just get some of that solid, and we're leaving it out in the hot Australian sun to get dry. And while it's not
It is Australia. I was right the first time. Yeah, okay.
strictly essential, at this part I always like to get really, really sweaty. I think it's just part of the experience, you know.
We're only like 10 minutes, if that. Ready for the review?
The magic of nitrogen triiodide is it's not very sensitive while wet, but as soon as it dries out, it forms one of the world's most sensitive explosives that even a simple tap with a stick here will detonate it.
And still, like, even in slow motion made me jump. Didn't even have to touch it that time.
The explosion forms these big, beautiful clouds of elemental iodine, which is all weirdly nostalgic for me. In fact, the first YouTube video I ever made in late
Nostalgia?
2011 was on touch powder.
Oh.
Back when I thought the channel would basically be epic mealtime.
Okay. Good morning and welcome to Explosions&Fire. Today we're looking at touch powder.
It's 2011, man. Those were the good old days.
man.
Nothing but friends and chemistry.
Do y'all remember the early days of Epic Mealtime? That was like, I want to say like my freshman year of undergrad when I stumbled upon Epic Mealtime. Yeah, that show really got way out of control.
No, I think you got it all.
You should have paused it there for a moment. You ruined it.
All right. It's time. It's time for nitrogen trichloride. Concerningly, nitrogen trichloride can theoretically form anywhere you have an oxidizing source of chlorine, such as hypochlorites, organic chlorinating agent, or just chlorine gas, and a source of nitrogen, such as urea, ammonia, or fucking anything, really. Faced with all these options, it's time to hit up my local chemistry supply store. And by that, I mean the pool chemical aisle. As soon as it starts heating up, I'm always the first one into Bunnings to get all those pool chemical supplies I need for a great summer.
What kind of pool do you have, mate?
What? This compound here is TCCA, trichloroisocyanuric acid. This chemical reacts with ammonia to form nitrogen trichloride with a few small obstacles. The first one being, if the ammonia is too concentrated, it will all just blow up straight away. You can't have that. Also, nitrogen trichloride is so reactive, if it gets on a plastic container, it can potentially detonate because it's reacting with that organic material. So you also don't want to do it in glass. You don't need to do everything in glass if you're making explosives. So this strange compromise here is I'm using this Teflon sheet to hold the TCCA blocks so that nitrogen trichloride as it forms won't hit any plastic and will sit in this Teflon here. Handling the pure trichloride itself directly is pretty much impossible without injury, so what we're doing instead is we're forming small amounts of the trichloride and it's kind of adhering to these TCCA blocks so that we can handle the chunks as a solid, but it still has the chemical properties of this oily layer. The longer we leave the TCCA in the ammonia, the more the nitrogen trichloride builds up, which, in case it's not obvious, I will point out if you're doing a reaction between an oxidizing chlorine and a nitrogen source and you see this type of thing happening, try and stop it or run away. This is a very bad sign. Seriously, the more yellow this goes, the more likely it is just to blow up at any moment. We take the blocks out after a short time, say a few.
And that is why I am not a chemist. I know that I would probably kill myself on accident. And everyone else within a 30-mile radius.
Minutes,
probably.
we don't generally see too much of an energetic reaction because we haven't built up too much nitrogen trichloride. If we leave the blocks in for a medium amount of time, say half an hour or so, we start to see an energetic reaction from the surface. That surface starting to, puff off or, give some reaction to flames as there's so much trichloride adhered to it. Longer reaction times, however, let the trichloride build up to the point the whole block will detonate.
Well, that one worked.
Yeah, that one absolutely worked. I I did this a couple of years ago, and yes, I did do it in a glass jar, but I like to think I have improved my safety culture in the last couple of years, and I no longer use glass jars for things that will violently explode for no reason. But I let this one react for quite a while, and you can see these oily droplets actually nearly starting to separate from the block, and these blocks were very, very dangerous. Alright, so we've just seen some full detonations of nitrogen trichloride, and I bet you're still sitting there feeling a little disappointed. You're the kind of person that watches a car race hoping for all the cars to just crash into each other. To be honest, I do totally see your point. It is a shame we don't see this nitrogen trichloride as the free-flowing liquid it is. I think it's time to shamelessly plagiarize, but in a formally accepted manner. That's right, it's the literature review time. And by literature, I mean other YouTube videos. We're not going into the actual literature, ew, science. There really isn't too many videos of nitrogen trichloride on YouTube, which I totally understand until we get to the king of nitrogen trichloride, James Campbell's channel here. So James Charles showcases a variety of different compounds here, from organic peroxides to dynamite. However, we're focusing in on his nitrogen trichloride videos. What the big JC does here is he adds ammonia to hypochlorite, but he also adds in a complete disregard for his own life, which I think is the key important ingredient. To show you this isn't a fluke, Jesus uploads 3 identically titled videos showing nitrogen trichloride.
Yeah, this stuff seems quite dangerous. If I don't remember him saying it at the beginning of the video, but I hope you all know that unless you're a trained chemist, don't do this at home.
Detonating under sunlight. See what I mean about
Jesus
the glass? It's always the glass. He also manages to condense enough of the liquid to show it off to the camera. And so this is a video of nitrogen trichloride.
That's just like... Ah! And why is he touching it with his bare hands? It's gonna, like... After everything we've seen so far in this video, look, that's how you lose a finger. Or all your fingers. I don't... Eey. That makes me so nervous.
He did reply to some comments, so we get a bit of a deep dive into the man behind the trichloride.
This has to be a joke. Tell me this is not ammonia, but acetone and the liquid collecting at the bottom is chloroform.
No, Joe, chloroform is not green and doesn't explode.
Well, impure chloroform can end any colour you want, and there was no explosion. I hope it was a trick to make us freak out.
No trick. I've had 2 incidents with it, and one that punched a piece of glass in my eye.
I
Holy...
feel like we've established it's the worst chemical.
In his eye? Why was he not wearing eye protection? Good God. Yeah. Are people doing this like purely for the views on YouTube or just out of boredom? Ugh. The chaos, man. It's too much for me.
That we hadn't addressed. Some loose end. What? Oh yeah, the peeing in the pool bit. Honestly, I don't really feel qualified enough to talk about piss and piss chemistry. So, but good news is, I found someone who is.
Mr. Red, you famously made, what was that, artificial sweetener from your own pee?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say 2 things. Mr. Red. I don't know if I like that. And also, I don't know if
What? That turning my own pee into an artificial sweet. Why?
I agree with famously, but yes, I did do that.
So would you count yourself as a piss chemist?
I wouldn't say that I'm an expert, but I would say that I have knowledge.
Was there any point during the synthesis you were like, this is not what I should be doing? Or did you just power through it?
Kind of funny enough.
I have to, in my own mind, tell myself that's apple juice or something, because I just can't. I can't look at a pot full of urine and not
the actual synthesis didn't smell very bad. It had kind of like, because there's always that revolting pee smell of like, a nasty unkept bathroom. It was about like the halfway point or more that I think the heat starts to break down some stuff that's in there, and it it starts to really smell. Start wondering if the neighbors are gonna wonder why just the whole area like around where I was doing it just smells terrible. I think now it wasn't a last minute decision that I did it outside, but it definitely wasn't originally planned that way, and I'm glad I did. It's almost all water coming off.
It was like,
well, it's like 98.9% water or something.
Right. I'm making a compound called.
I couldn't even hear what he was saying for the last, I don't know, minute and a half, because I've just been so grossed out by. I mean, I did hear some of what he was describing because it was disgusting and it was making me gag, but like half of it, I don't think I fully heard. Oh, so dark too.
Nitrogen trichloride or trichloramine made from pee and the hypochlorite from the pool. Is that an explosion hazard? Like, can I still freely pee in a pool?
It's surprising that not many people, or as many people know about it, but it is a pretty big hazard. Like most indoor swimming pools are on the verge of a detonation. I think it's pretty like miserably low. Because as you just said, the amount of urea in pee, I think when I did, to be fair, there was a loss when I did it because it's not perfect, but from 4 liters, so I guess effectively a gallon, I think I got 15 grams of urea, maybe.
Right.
Once it's diluted into the pool, I think it's like the worst, most offensive pool. He says like an Olympic-sized swimming pool had, I think, like 130 gallons.
And Olympic pools will contain, brace yourself, over 130 gallons.
Yeah.
But if each gallon only has like 50.
Wait, I'm sorry. 130, was that of just urine? 130 gallons of urine? Yeah, I'm not into the piss thing.
15 grams.
Yeah.
You're only looking at like a kilo for some insane amount of water.
It's still amazing that it's still like a hazard to like people's eyes and breathing, even when it's that diluted. Just because it's volatile and that offensive, it's pretty impressive that it's that nasty a chemical.
Yeah, so when it's like that low concentration, it's surprisingly enough to be able to actually affect your eyes and to...
Continue.
Okay. And to affect your eyes and for you to smell it, apparently it's not nearly enough to actually explode. Sorry? I didn't hear anything you said.
So in conclusion, nitrogen trichloride might be the worst chemical ever.
Seriously, though, why does it have a mic? That is weird. What does that use? Like, what? For what purpose? Is that? I don't know. Like maybe for people who like air traffic, not air traffic controllers, but the people on the ground, you know, doing the wand thing, directing the planes. Because like, don't they need to communicate with people? Man, I don't know. I'm just curious. Why put a mic on?
But you can still freely piss in a pool without fear of your urethra blowing up. Thanks as always to Patreons. There's a subreddit, the Discord. I'm leaving this channel for a little while, for a bit of a break. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I'm bloody coming back. It's going to be bloody good, if I'm allowed to say so myself, which I say that I am allowed to say so, so I will say so. So I'll see you then. How much are pop filters?
All right. Well, I feel like I've just been traumatized with all that urine. That shit obviously grosses me out quite a bit. Now I understand why it's a terrifying yellow abomination. Yeah, I don't even know what to necessarily say now. No, that was kind of fun. Like making the little explosives. That's kind of cool. Kind of want to see some bigger explosions though. Like, I understand he's probably doesn't have the budget of like the Mythbusters and be able to blow up a cement truck or something, but I don't know. I like watching explosions. The big ones are fun. But I think the fact that these were so small makes me feel like I could do it at home, and I know that is too dangerous for me. But yeah. If you have any other videos from Explosions and Fire that you would recommend, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to check it out. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time.